Hello, thank you for watching the Jacobitz Learning Channels. Invest in stock. Let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, so on the 24th was Sunday, 23rd was Saturday, so Friday. Remember, on weekends, there's no trading. Okay, so what we're looking at is what basically happened on the 22nd. And over here, we were at $3,603.38, so roughly $3,603. Over here, we were at $3,911.57. Okay, and that is as of today at the time at 2 o'clock. But I'm going to show you something that happens in the stock market. Okay, these are the same number of shares, 14 and 14, and over here we went up $308.19, but I want you to look at the cost that it was, and I want you to see it for what it really is, because really you have to account for that $308 to be, you have to account for it to really be more like a $28 gain, because it's a gain over here that shows up, but keep it realistic. Okay, I mean, let's be realistic that it's not like it's a whole lot that went up or a whole lot you lost. Some people would say, well, I can take this amount of money and go to the grocery store. Okay, you can, but it's not necessarily going to be real. And what happens is, because it only went up $23.89, in reality, you only made about $23.89 of a profit. It's just as you made $23.89, okay, times 14. So that's kind of why you have that gain, plus what it cost you to, this is your overall gain today, plus what it cost you to lose. And keep in mind, this was your loss on the 22nd of March, or this was the person's loss who has this. This was their loss, so that loss has to take in for that gain. Because if you made $334.43, then you did $64.62, you're really at $269.81. Because these two have to be accounted for. You've still got to make up for what you were at the close of that day and what your gain is today. Okay, and that's why when you get your tax forms, you generally have a short-term loss, long-term loss. They'll even, they'll categorize it for you, short-term losses, long-term losses, and they will show you what it is. So this is what it is really, okay, in terms of how much you've lost in between 2 days. Now let's watch this trick, which is why this is the reason a lot of people don't want to watch this, play stocks. Here's what happened. Now this is that same amount of money we were talking about that was a loss, and that same gain over here, but this was 2 o'clock p.m. that you had this much of a gain. Now 58 minutes later, this is what it is. And so your total has gone down less. Let me tell you this, another reality is that stock market really stops closing at about 5. So in between now and 5 o'clock p.m., what do you think could happen within another 2 hours? Okay, this that was $23.89, and now at 2:58 p.m. is $22.59. It could go even lower. So you could really still lose. Hopefully it won't drop down to $17, but it could still go down to 21. And then this amount is even lower than this amount. And it is possible it can go down to this amount. So what you were doing is you were hedging on your bets on what it's done over a 5-day period and hoping that it doesn't drop significantly. And if you think it does, remember, we can always change our quantity or the amount that we buy. We can always say, hey, you know what, just in case it does go down to $17. If I see it drop too much, I can go ahead and I can sell. I could even sell 7 shares. Let's say I'll sell 9, and then I'll still have 5 shares left, And if it jumps rapidly up or over the next 20 days goes back to $30, okay, or goes up $30, I'm sorry, not back to $30, but it goes up $30, and let's say it goes up to 300 a share. Okay, and they do this when they're writing these. They use that little @ sign, and then it goes up to 300 per share. Excuse me. You might actually make a profit if it does something miraculous, like we were hoping, like what Bitcoin does, and it goes from 300 to 400 before Bitcoin went up to, what's it trading at now? Like 39,000, 50,000 a share. Because remember, there were people who bought Bitcoin when it was this amount, people who bought it when it was less, and in 1 minute, then it went up to 15,000, and look at the profits they made. So that's wishful thinking and hoping, because we don't really have the evidence to prove that, but at the same time, maybe. This is what's going on. So stay tuned and wait for tomorrow to see what it closed at. I think pretty much we're going to leave this at 14 shares. We'll see what happens with those. Thanks for watching.